citizens for excellent and elected leaders. First of all, I want to thank everyone that came out tonight to listen to this important forum. It's not a debate, it's a forum. And so we have a few housekeeping rules. First, I need all phones on silent. All phones on silent. The camera will pick up everything, so I would ask that no talking while we're recording because it's going out on live television besides social media. I want to thank the man of this house, Pastor Chris, for allowing us to be in his house. I want to thank my moderators. We have moderator Joe Flint, Kathy Adams, and we have the 7 candidates that's here tonight. This forum is very important. Let me say this. Anybody that want to ask a question, they're going to put the question on these cards. They will be picked up and go to the moderator. If just say, I have a question and you have a question and they're similar questions, they know how to put it together. With that being said, let me say, I want to thank my candidates. My candidates, I sent you an email and I asked you for something. I would love for you to do what I asked you in that email that'll cover the cost of using this facility. Thank you. And so again, my name is Damita Chatman, and this is the Mayor's Forum of the City of South Fulton. And I'm going to turn it over to my moderators, and she will go from there. And Kathy, if you don't mind, but once you do that, then they have 1 minute to just introduce themselves, please. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the City of South Fulton, the Mayoral Forum. We are glad to have you here, and we hope that when you leave this evening, you will know a little bit more about your future representation, about the people who aspire to be your next leader. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started, but I'm going to give you the format and the platform for this evening's forum. So this is housekeeping and the rules. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to respond to the questions. And each candidate will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. And please note, there's no back and forth on somebody else's previous comment. This is not a debate, this is a forum. The moderator will call on each candidate in order that he or she chooses. And all candidates will receive the same number of questions. However, you may not receive the same question. The timekeeper will sound the bell that indicates your time is up. And the remaining indicator, well, we will have a 30-second countdown, 30-second indicator. And if the candidate continues to speak after their time limit, he or she will be interrupted and asked to stop. The questions will come from the floor, from our in-person audience, as well as our virtual audience. So we will take questions as well. Our in-person audience may submit their questions, as Damita said, via the green index card. We'll bring them up, we'll scrub them to ensure that we're not asking the same question 10 different ways. And again, do remember that each candidate will have the same number of questions, but you just may not have the same question. And the moderators will use at our own discretion to ask the questions in random order. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to my co-host, Joe.
Good evening, and thank you, Kathy, for informing us. Let me just add an additional house rule. Attention, ladies and gentlemen, if you should find yourself having to use the latrine restroom, there are additional restrooms on the lower level. There's one outdoor. There are additional restrooms on the lower level. If you have to go out the door deeply to the right, then down the stairs. But again, we want to welcome you to the City of South Fulton's Candidates Forum. In this year's Candidates Forum, we had a number of candidates qualify for this leadership role. 9 to be specific. This evening, we will hear from the qualified candidates that reside in the City of South Fulton, seeking the leadership position of mayor. As a gentle reminder or note, I should say, all candidates have been invited to participate in this evening's forum. Again, all candidates have been invited to participate in this evening's forum. So you won't have to ask the question at the end, why wasn't he or why wasn't she here? Each candidate will share information with you about themselves and their 2025 campaign platform. Kathy has already outlined the amount of time allocated for each of the candidates to introduce themselves. And so at this time, we're going to move forward the introduction of the candidates.
I would like to ask the candidates in alphabetical order by last name to introduce themselves. This is the 2-minute introduction. You can share your platform, anything that you think our listening audience needs to know about you. And we don't have you seated in alphabetical order, but we are going to call on you in alphabetical order by last name. And I'm going to start with Mr. Joseph, and I don't know how to pronounce your last name. So, Mr. Joseph, if you will.
Adeyemi.
Joseph A.
Ifwe.
Mr. Joseph A. We have a time clock here.
Yeah.
And the timekeeper is on point.
All right. I want to say a big thank you to our host, Decision Point Ministries, Ms. Damita and the C.E.E.L organization for putting this together. It's a much needed forum. Leaders like you are what the city needs to move forward at this crucial phase. My name is Joseph Adeyemi. I was inspired to run for office by the deep potential that I see in South Fulton and the urgent need for responsible, visionary leadership. As a U.S. Navy reservist and a project manager, and a father of 3, I have spent my life serving others and solving problems. The virtue of discipline, integrity, and ethics instilled in me through my military training are the exact virtues that we lack in City Hall right now. I'm running because our city deserves the leadership that listens, that takes action, and drive real progress, especially for working families. I believe change isn't a slogan in this campaign. Change is a decision, and I'm ready to help South Fulton make that decision together. Thank you.
Next, we will move to our candidate, Mark Baker.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, my name is Dr. Mark Baker. I attended Clark Atlanta University, where I recently, well, not so recent, but I received my doctorate in African American Studies, African and Women's Studies. I'm one of the founding members of the City of South Fulton City Council back in 2017, where I was elected the first District 7 councilman of the city that represents the Old National, the Oakley industrial area. And prior to that, I was a college professor at Clark Atlanta, where I taught introduction to women's studies, and also I was the first male professor of women's studies. I taught African American studies, current issues as well. Retired law enforcement officer. I spent my last 10 years right here in Fulton County as a school resource officer, Bear Creek Middle, Renaissance, Langston. I worked at all of those schools in the South area. When we founded the city in 2017, I became a council member. I passed some of the most progressive legislation in our region. Just to name a few, I wrote the first reparations law in the state of Georgia. Since then, we've seen task force come from Fulton County, DeKalb County as well. I'm the only person in the state of Georgia to pass Breonna Taylor's law that ended no-knock warrants. You live in a city where our police department is the only out of 535 municipalities that have to adhere to that law. Several other pieces of legislation are decriminalized cannabis before it was normalized, and much, much more. More importantly, I just want to take a couple of my seconds to say, out of deference of 2 people who aren't here, they're currently serving the city, they're candidates as well, the mayor and Councilwoman Gomes.
Thank you so much. Now we'll move on to our next candidate. It's Mr. Kelvin Davis.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Gil. My name is.
Turning the mic on.
My name is Kelvin Davis, and I live in District 3. I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening to hear what every candidate here has to say, because I think that that's the most important thing for you guys to hear what everyone plans to do for you. And I want to thank the moderators for coordinating this event. It's a very special time to live within the city of South Fulton. And I think that, we're really the city on the rise. And I think in order for that to truly become true, we're going to have to, just lead properly. I will say that, my bio, I'm a country boy, I'm a Georgia boy. I've always lived in Georgia. Besides my military career, anytime I've deployed, I've been away from Georgia, but anytime I've returned to Georgia. I'm from a small town, very close to, I would say, middle Georgia. Macon, Georgia is very similar to South Fulton. So it's like 80% Black, South Fulton, 92% Black. So it was a very easy, transition for me to come here and, show, pretty much show what I have to offer in terms of leadership. I'm a prior Navy veteran. I'm a systems architect and consultant for the federal government. I've worked within very high octane environments where transparency is one of the most important things. Accountability is one of the most important things, policy, and what we do and how we do. I think that what I bring to the city will modernize the services that you guys rely on. The services will work. The services will be transparent, and you'll see how the city works for you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Davis. We appreciate you. At this time, we will move to Mr. Bill Edwards. Let me correctly say William Bill Edwards.
Thank you all so much. I'm William Bill Edwards. I'm the inaugural mayor of the city. I won't bother you with a whole lot of things that you've already seen on TV. In 2017, we made an agreement. You, people who formed this city, and you said you formed the city, and that we as citizens will help you get the resources that you need to take the city forward. That was the deal. And today I tell you that I'm here to seal that deal through sustainability, economic development, and listening and accountability. So it's time for us to move forward. We can't stay on this stand too long. And I have the vision and the experience. I also wish your council, your commission for 14. And so this is a part of what I do, part of how I feel. I love this city, I love its people. And the most important thing I just told you about what I want to do, I want to be able to help you all that listen. I want your voices to be heard. I don't want somebody to limit what you say and how you say it. So at this time, we need to push forward, and I'm here to serve each and every one.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. At this time, we'll move to Mr. Jewel Johnson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jewel Johnson, and I am the woman for the city of South Fulton. South Fulton has been in existence for 8 years. But I want you to know that with it being in existence for 8 years, I have had my boots on the ground since its inception. I have worked. Now it's time to apply the things that we have never seen in this great city. And that I'm referring to power. I'm referring to truth to power and not power to truth. Because when you render truth to the people will give you power. My name has been out for some time now because I love the city. I'm one of the people that helped to make the city. I come to you today with many, many ideas because I'm a visionary. And there are many things that you can go see. I challenge everybody in here to go to my website and read about all the wonderful things that I've done. All the development that we enjoy on this side was done by the people. Everything is supposed to be about the people. Transparency is very, very important. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running. I'm running because I have been family. I have been community all my life, family and community. It seems like it never ends. I am a retired 44-year nurse. And I'm here today to let you know that we can be much better than this. One of the first things that I feel that we need to do is to get an understanding about where our money is going. And the way you do that is with an audit.
Thank you.
We
so
must
very
have
much,
that
Mr.
audit
Wilson.
done.
We appreciate you for introducing yourself. At this time, we will have Mr. Ray Mills.
How you all doing today? Thank you all for coming out. I am Ray Mills, like you said. I was born and raised right here. I'm original. I'm a Grady baby. Again, my grandparents raised me right here off of Old National Highway. Okay, I went to Love Tinoza, McNair Middle, graduated from Banneker High School. I never left here. I stayed here, became an entrepreneur, built my businesses right here. I currently have 27 employees right from South Fulton in my companies combined. It's time for a fresh start in the city. My grandparents didn't work 50 years to pay off their house, to adopt me, to have what we're having right now in this city going on. They did. I'm running because I owe it to them. They gave me an opportunity to make something of myself, and I can't sit back and allow this city to continue the path it's on. It's insane. We're not gonna get messy, we're not gonna get dirty. We all see what's going on, and it's time for a fresh start. I never left here. I was born here, I built here. I currently have 5 companies right here in South Fulton, operating 7-figure businesses. I am an example of what South Fulton can be. Right here. And I am the one that want to lead you all, lead this city into what it possibly can be. Because again, I am living proof of what we can be. We're not a joke. We're not what they are on the blog. We're not what they see on TV. That's not what my grandparents moved over here to do. That's not why I raised. That's not the way I was raised. I know a lot of people flew here, drove here, but I was born here. Nobody has more invested here that's running for mayor than me. It's not just about money. This is where I come from. This is where I grew from. This is what raised me. Thank you. I'm Ray Mills, and I look forward to talking more about you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Mills. We appreciate you. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Ryan Olson.
Hello, South Fulton.
Oh,
hello. So I'm a little different up here. And I'm talking because I was born in Denver, Colorado. And maybe a few other things. But I am Ryan Olson, and I am also running for mayor. I love South Fulton. I've lived in South Fulton for the last 6 years. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, but I shop here. I live here. I got married here. I had my first baby here. But I came to Georgia 10 years ago. I came 10 years ago to work in the film industry. Now the film industry here in Georgia has been booming. It's brought in billions of dollars in tax revenue to all the local economy. It's employed a lot of Georgia people, including many from South Fulton, many who live in my neighborhood. I live in District 4. And I work in the film industry as a professional stuntman, okay? But this is not a stunt right here. I saw someone refer to me as we have an actor running for mayor. But I want you to know me as a union man. I have voted on many union contracts. I have fought for fair wages. I also went on strike in 2023 and voted on it, fighting giants like Netflix and Amazon. And I plan to bring that fight for you if these companies come here when they're going to continue on with their development. But allow me to pivot. I spent the majority of my time in the health and fitness industry, working for a nonprofit where I managed over 75 employees. And I eventually also owned my own business, small business. I know what it's like to give back to the community. And I want to bring more of that to South Fulton. I'm running to bring back accountability, transparency, restore faith in our elected officials, and bring business to South Fulton so we don't have to leave and shop outside of South Fulton. I want it to be here. This is a destination city. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you to each of the candidates for sharing a little bit about yourself, sharing it with the audience. So now, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. You just heard from 7 of the 9 candidates, and each of these candidates are seeking to govern, create policy, manage budgets, but be a visionary, creating long-term plans for sustainable growth in the city of South Fulton. But they're also going to lead with tax diplomacy. Our timekeeper will sound the bell. Again, you will have 2 minutes. Well, you'll have, a minute and a half to respond to the questions. And we will ask the questions in random order, the co-moderator and I. And tonight's forum is being presented to you in a nonpartisan manner. So without further ado, I'll present the first question. And this is a question actually from the floor. One of our in-person guests. Part of the city's bond rating is based on transparency. What enhancements or changes, if any, would you make to the current process to incorporate complete transparency? This question is for Bill Edwards, if you don't mind me calling you Bill Edwards. So wait a minute. Okay.
Not at all. Thank you for that question. Transparency may be a part of the of getting a bond rating, but it ain't a big part. You don't have a bond rating that's appropriate because of what's been going on in your meetings, because of the bad press that you've been getting. It don't matter how much money you got in the bank, but they look at your culture, they look at your character. We should have had a bond rating by now. And we should have had a credit rating, which we don't have either. So it's just a small part. Let's talk one more. Let me talk about transparency. Transparency don't begin when something happens. When something happens, everybody want to draw out their little papers out and show what this and that happened. That's not called transparent. That's called CYA. So you got to start being transparent from the day one. Whatever you do, you have to be transparent. Until at that time. So don't get fooled. You need much more than just transparency to get you an adequate bond rating.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Edwards. This question is specifically for Mr. Mills. How will you balance bringing in new development while making sure longtime residents aren't pushed out? And the second part of this question is, what do you want our city to look like in 5 years if elected mayor?
Well, number one, I would definitely cater to small businesses, most likely to African Americans. This is an African American city. I do not believe that 70% currently of our contracts and businesses are run and operated by non-African Americans. So number one, in order to keep them from pushing us out, we have to be able to push forward as ourselves. We will promote African American businesses, small businesses. I also believe in tax funds, issuing tax funds, and some of you may know what that is, to be able to tighten the company. So again, I would cater to small businesses like myself to be able to help build our economy. I wouldn't necessarily cater to all the Fortune 500 companies that will come in here and push us out, raise taxes and push us out. I wouldn't do that.
Well, the second part, if you have 30 seconds, but the second part of the question is, what do you want our city to look like in the next 5 years if you're elected mayor?
Well, you
30
have
seconds.
You have Avalon, you have cities that's been in existence like we have, and they have gone a lot further in the same time period. So I'm looking at building our economy up, not level, not down, up. And building our economy up also gives you all tax relief on your property. Our property taxes are going up because we have nothing. We don't have any businesses that generate the proper tax revenue to lower our taxes. And it's time we have leadership that understand money. I hate to say it,
but you can't keep choosing leaders that don't understand
Thank you.
economics.
Thank you
Okay.
so very much.
All right.
Mr.
Thank you.
Let me ask this question just before Kathy. Please, we appreciate all the questions that are coming from the audience, but I just have a PhD, a public high school degree. Can you please write in manuscript, please? Some of you all are writing in cursive, and I'm glad to know that you can write in cursive, but I'm having a hard time reading some of the questions. So please write in manuscript. Thank you. Please, Kathy.
Thank you so much. So, and it is a challenge. So just be mindful that someone else has to read your handwriting. This message is public safety message. There's a perception that crime is at an all-time high in the city of South Fulton, although data may show otherwise. What is your vision or your plan to address the perception and your concerns? I'm going to ask Mr. Olson to take that question.
Hello. First, I would like to make sure that our leadership within our policing is proper and being held to a high standard. I believe that we need to also work with community programs, neighborhood watch, and our youth programs. With the crime in the city, I understand that it has a perception higher, and a lot of times that could be something referred to as maybe outsiders coming into the city or the youth committing crime. But I believe that one thing we can focus on is better policing. We have a new police building going up that is, I believe we can also pour into that and invest into that as well. And then support our police officers, but most importantly, invest in the community. Invest in the community and invest into our children, and make sure that that crime rate continues to go down by implementing the proper procedures and the proper leadership.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we have a question from one of our online guests. And this question is, what is your vision for the city of South Fulton, the economic growth? And how will you balance attracting new businesses while supporting small businesses and residents? Mr. Davis.
Thank you for the question. I think really that's one of the most important questions I think, any of the candidates here can answer. In terms of really, growing South Fulton, I think, my leadership strategy is to govern for the people that live here. So everything that I plan, platform related, has been dedicated to ensuring that the residents' voices are heard and they receive equity within the spending within the city. I think that's one of the things that has always been misplaced is city spending and the community equity that we receive from it. With that, I plan to really focus on the youth. I plan to focus on the team, I would say teams, and create more so educational and training pathways for youth age 14 to 24. So essentially anyone, any youth that is aged 14 to 24, I'm creating science, technology, engineering, mathematics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning pathways for them to grow early on here within the city of South Fulton. I think if we really strengthen the education posture of this city, we'll grow and attract the right businesses. And we have one of the most, I would say, dynamic and, one of the most cities with the biggest potentials in Georgia. And I think we really have to tap into our youth. And I want to invest into that.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Davis. We appreciate your response. But this question is for Ms. Jewel Johnson. I'm going to make one announcement, ladies and gentlemen. Again, so grateful for all the questions coming forward. Make sure, I know that some of you all have a lot of questions, but I think we're getting some repeat questions from the same person. So let's make sure everybody gets a chance to ask a question, okay? Thank you so very much. To Ms. Jewel Johnson, South Fulton is a city in its infancy. What is a strategic plan to enhance the infrastructure for the city and the economic plan to minimize impact upon taxpayers? Would you like me to read it again? Are you?
First of all, I want to thank you for that question. In terms of economic development, I feel that we need to work together with our citizens because they have been taken out of the equation. We have a lot of intelligent citizens in this city who are willing and want to work with us, but we have been taken out of it. The next thing that I would do is to make sure that we are also working with other industries and we're partnering with them. That's important to do as well, because you can't, in the phase of things, you have to include others that's willing to work with you. And we have to remember, we cannot run a city without people. It's very, very important on both sides of the coin, if I understood the question right, that we have to let the people have a part. And one of the main things that I intend to do to allow them to have the part is to give them the mic back. We cannot talk about anything unless it is on the agenda. So it's now time to allow the people to be able to be a part of their city. There are so many things that you can do because we don't need to be going to dilly-why-dilly to get what we need when we can do it right here. This is the richest country in the world. So why is it that we're having food problems? We have so many
much. It's true. Thank you so very much. Okay. This next question will be for Joseph A. There we go. Mr. A, what strategic idea do you have to bring our community together following the current devastation and demise of this current administration?
Thank you very much. I think on the subject of economics, I think I'm the only one who has the license to speak on that, being that I was trained as an economist. But to your question about how to bring people together, it's about showing strong leadership. In my experience, I've worked, of course, with delivering projects, multi-million-dollar projects. I've worked with hundreds of people, bringing them together to achieve a common goal. So the first thing we want to do is bring everybody to the table and focus. For example, in this city, we have a 5-year plan. When people come to work on Monday, they don't know what they want to tackle out of the 5-year plan. So breaking down the 5-year plan into sizable chunk will be our first step in bringing people together. That way, people know what they're in for, when they clock into work, what they're coming to do. Then we break it down further into quarterly goals. So giving people what to do prevents them from distractions, things that leads to fighting. An idle hand is a devil's workshop. My number one job is to keep people busy. The people you've elected to work for you as a project manager, I will bring them together, cut down this 5-year plan into sizable chunks that we can start delivering on a monthly basis. And then you can check metrics at the end of the year against our promise. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that response. So next we have another question from our in-person audience. And it says, with taxes being raised rapidly, what do you plan to do with the funds allocated for the youth and youth programs in our community? And this question is for Mr. Baker.
Thank you for that question. This is perfect. As your former District 7 councilman for 2 terms, I also had the privilege of starting passing 2 resolutions to activate in the state our Urban Redevelopment Authority, as well as our Development Authority while I was on City Council. I worked firsthand with Gary Davis, 6225 Shannon Parkway, which is called the Next Level Boys Academy. Every Saturday, we sat in there with young men, and still do to this day, with ankle monitors on their ankle. And prior to our now DA, Fonnie Willis, she used to actually send those people. She also ultimately became our municipal judge. But she would send individuals to us so we could help them if they were first offenders. We would give these individuals no time to be tardy. They'd have to be on time. And they could only, if they missed one time, they would be back in the court system. These opportunities allow for us to get them jobs and other opportunities that they would never have. And more programs like that would come and become infectious. I work with several individuals. If you just go to my website, Mark Baker for Mayor, you see all of the things I've done with Travis Barber.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Baker. We appreciate you. Now, this question is going to be for Mr. Olson. Mr. Olson, this is a three-part question. First part is, how will you control traffic if less lanes but more houses and apartments are being built along the highway roads? The second part of the question is, what are your plans for South Fulton, especially to keep us spending money inside the city as opposed to outside of the city? And I'll repeat these if need. And the third part of the question is, there are lots of warehouses. How will you bring more mixed development instead of just apartments?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. So if I understand correctly, the first question was about infrastructure of the roads. You repeat the first question?
How will you control traffic if there are less lanes but more homes and apartments being built?
Yes, this is one thing I'm very passionate about. I believe that our infrastructure is not handling our growth. We're growing much faster than our infrastructure is. I believe what we should do is actually invest in our infrastructure first. So before the developments are developing, we should have the roads, the infrastructure invested in first. A lot of times what I've seen lately is I've seen the use of roundabouts. I find that to be productive in some of the parts of our city. But where I live in District 4, 92 there, we need a lot of work there for our infrastructure there. We have a couple stoplights and I can't tell you how many car accidents I see throughout the week. That is something that I'd be very passionate to work on. Second question, please.
What are your plans for South Fulton, especially to keep us spending money within the city as opposed to outside of it?
To keep us spending money in the city, we have to attract the businesses here. We are a very attractive city. We're growing. We have great people, but we also have very close proximity to the airport. There is no reason why we shouldn't have the businesses here and formed in South Fulton. What I'd like to do is at least streamline the permits and cut any kind of red tape that would keep them halted. Third question, sorry.
We'll have to. Well,
okay. 5 seconds left.
Yes. Thank you, though. Thank you for those responses.
So the next question is, what is your position on removing the millage rate cap? Why and why not? This question is for Bill Edwards and Nicole Lee.
Just push it all the way up.
Bill.
Thank you for that question. If we had been diligent in doing the things that we should have been doing, like making sure that we have a decent credit rating, or making sure that we have a bond rate, we would be talking about this. That's true. So let me say this. Where I looked at the deal, where the interest rate is fine, where the deal is good, but I'm going to tell you, there's no M&O in that deal. Maintenance and operation. That money is solely for construction. So we're going to have to make sure that we're doing what we need to do, that we get around. So am I for the millage rate cap? No, I'm not. I am for the millage rate cap. Because if we raise it, you're going to give them another opportunity to actually get more money. If you don't be thinking about this and leave that millage rate unprotected like that, it's going to be a time in your life where you're going to have to deal with reduction in force.
Yes.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Edwards. Now, this question will be for Ms. Johnson. Are you willing to change the name of the city? Would you consider doing this?
Yes, please.
Thank you so much for that question. That has been a real stickler for not only the people, but myself as well. I would be willing to work with the people in order for us to do this, but we have to really look at the fact this would be a big expense. Because when you look at, we've spent so much money on our logos and name that we have right now. In order to get that done, we have to make sure that we are working with our dollars. And we all know that our budget is growing every year. This year's almost $400 million. Okay, and look around and see what you have. So yes, I would be willing to work with the people and be fiscally responsible as it relates to the money. Because we have to follow what's happening with the money when you look at what's happening in this country right now. And I don't think we need to be spending a whole lot of money unless we can get good results. And I believe with the people and the staff, we can get this done.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that response. So we have another question from our online guests. So the question is, how will you work with the South Fulton schools, colleges, and workforce programs to prepare residents for jobs coming here? And this question is for Mr. Davis.
Well, I would like to start off by saying that I've already started the work. So everything that I talk about during this debate, the work has started. You can go to my platform at Kelvin for South Fulton. You're going to see two initiatives. There's the Fulton Pathway Initiative. That's the nonprofit organization that I mentioned earlier that's going to provide advanced level science and mathematics training to you. I feel as though we have a prime opportunity. I feel as though we have a prime opportunity to create a empowered youth that could truly transition into the future. Because we see what's happening. They're approving data centers left and right. We're seeing, unemployment rates, starting to go back up. We're seeing industries, being dismantled. So we have to start from the bottom, which is our youth. But we also have to include our adults. We have to include the people that are career changers, because there's going to be a lot of instability coming soon with the way that the world is going. So with Fulton Pathways, we provide all of the training for free. We operate off of public funding, private funding, and grants. And we also have a new nonprofit organization that supports blighted communities, such as Camelot, such as Biscayne. It's now citywide. If you go to there, if you have any problems with code, with safety, please apply.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Davis. This next question will be for Mr. Baker. Mr. Baker, data centers and AI are national hot topics and includes the president's endorsement. How do you, the candidate, feel about data centers and AI? And this is from our online audience.
Great question. So it's tough, right? We're asking for something, but then we're pushing back at the same time, right? We want economic development. These are the industries that are seeking out our city, so we can have that and we can take the burden off the taxpayers. We have to look at this from a microscopic level. We can't solve a problem at the root. At the stem, you have to go to the root. The root of it is being radically honest, our segmented population was overlooked for several years, right? No knock to our first mayor, but we had situations where things were built in our area that were undesirable in the first place.
Amen.
And so these things that were built, we had to just deal with them. And now we're building our $500,000 homes right across the street from them, right? And now we don't know what the emittance levels are when it comes to these data centers. And we don't know what's going to happen in the next 20 to 25 years with our young people around this stuff, just because we want economic development. But what we need to do is utilize these authorities that I founded when I was on council, the Urban Redevelopment Authority, the Development Authority as well. They're tools in the toolbox of economic development, but we have to start using them properly. And it's hard unless we can get a council in place that can work together and make people want to bring the right business to our place.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that response. So
Can I ask you guys a question, because we are recording for television, the record and Apple television, if you can hold your applause down, because this is going on TV. Thank you so much.
So the next question is for Joseph A. How does your military training correlate with the ethics in City Hall?
Thank you for that question. I believe my leaders in the Navy will be happy you asked that, because one thing they've instilled in us is discipline, integrity, ethics. If you talk about United States Navy, you remember honor, courage, and commitment. These are virtues that we embody. Doesn't matter how long you serve. I'm currently serving. These are the things that you show every day at your job, which has helped me in the public and private sector to rise to the level that I am right now, managing multi-million-dollar initiatives because of that discipline, integrity, and ethics. The same virtues that are currently missing in the City Hall. If you elect me as mayor, I'm bringing discipline, I'm bringing integrity, and I'm bringing ethics. Because without a law, there is no crime. There are currently no guardrails. It's a free-for-all. You doing it, I'm doing it, you doing it, don't point at me, you're doing it too. So no guardrails. So the first thing I'm doing when I come in is to make sure there are guardrails. That way, we all have a working agreement as a council member, mayor. We sit down in a room and we create our working agreement. These are the things that we're gonna do. These are the things that we're not gonna do. When you have that, it's not Joseph coming after a city council person. It's the working agreement that you agreed upon that is coming after you. Thank you.
Please, again, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please hold your applause until all names have been called. Thank you. So the next question is going to go to Mr. Ray Mills. And forgive me if I'm trying to understand this manuscript. I apologize. But currently our city suffers from a poor image. What will you do as an elected official to change this immediately? Upon all the talking and all of the things that are taking place in our city, we need a strong backing for our city. And please forgive me, I'm trying to understand the reading for me, the manuscript here, but more importantly, how will you change the poor image of our city?
Again, you're only as good as your leader. And when they do background check, portfolio checks, they need to see strength. They need to see somebody with a marker with footprints of success, of leadership, and of being an original person from this city. When they look at me, again, this is not me tooting my own horn or anything, but I was born here. These are facts. I am a product of South Fulton, even before it was South Fulton. It was just unincorporated Fulton County. And I wanted to show the world that I can make it here. We're not a joke. We can look like we can be something. Everybody's not a joke. Everything is not, we got to bash each other. It's some real positivity that has been produced right here in this city. And as your leader, I believe with your help, I can be that face. I'm not a perfect man by far. But again, I made my success. I made who I am right here in this city. I am a product of where you all live. So as the leader, I feel like there's no one more qualified to be the face of this city when it comes to strength and leadership. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Next question. This is from our in-person audience. Why are you running for office? I recall the last mayor being told over and over, the mayor's job is not just one with no authority. So what do you think will happen to the platform you run on? How will we be sure that what we want actually happens? Ready to ask that one again? I think that leads to strong council there. I think is what that is. Right. But I'm gonna ask that question to Joel Johnson. So why are you running for office? I recall the last mayor being told over and over, the mayor's job is not just one with any authority. So what do you think will happen to you through the platform you're running on? How can we be sure that what we want actually happens? Ms. Johnson.
Being the only female up here, thank you for that question. I feel that I should stand on this one. Well, first of all, I've been running for 30 years. Okay. Because I love where I live. Anything that you want to see that I have done, please go to 285 and Cascade Road all the way to Fulton Industrial. My neighbors and I did that. I was also the president of that organization. We brought everything here. I'm running because I want people to understand the things that they want, they have to get engaged. I want to work with them to be engaged and show them how we were able to do it. You're not going to do it with any of the people that's up here right now and the ones that you have now. Because you have to have people. I want to teach. I want to be in the community. I want to show you how you go out and you get what you want. First of all, you got to decide where it's going. Second of all, you got to decide what it is that you want. Then third of all, you got to work the plan. And I'm a visionary. I visualize things and I can make it happen. Go to my website. Read on all the things that I have gotten done as an advocate. I love South Fulton.
Thank you so very
I
much.
own property.
We appreciate you so very much.
Ashley, we like that.
Our next question will be for no, I'm sorry, I'll go to Mr. Mills. Mr. Mills, if elected mayor, will you still end your, I'm going to have to come back to that question. I apologize. The same person though. What is the situation with the data warehouses already once set to be placed in the city of South Fulton? Why are they here? Again, Mr. Mills, the question is, what is the situation with the data warehouses? I think this says 7 of them already set to be placed in the city of South Fulton. Why are they here? Why here? I'm sorry, why here?
Well, it's quite simple. We don't have the proper leadership to represent us. If you go 15 miles up North Fulton, they wouldn't even try it. Because the city council, the individual that's elected, ain't about to let it happen. We keep electing individuals that don't have spines, that don't know how to do it. It's time for somebody that again is invested in this city, that's gonna stand for this city. I wouldn't allow that. I live in this city. I founded a school called the Mills Academy. I've graduated over 1,000 of your kids in this city. I've been putting my money where my mouth was. Everybody else can talk, but I've been walking for a long time. I can't stop the 7 that's already coming because that's the previous administration, but I can guarantee you this, it won't be one more. It won't be one more on my clock. We're gonna have entertainment. Like we have nowhere, I have 3 kids. We have nowhere that I can take my kids in this city.
That's true.
I live here, I work here, but I can't play here. Over $7 million of our money leave this city to go to entertain and eat in other cities. Because we don't have nobody to court these companies to come and be a part of this great city. It's time for a fresh start. We gave them 8 years. We can't keep re-electing the same names just because they're popular. This ain't high school.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, I'm going to ask you.
I get a little passionate.
Please hold your applause.
But again, I'm here. Nobody loves this city more than me. My grandparents, okay, Miss Julie, you're right. My grandparents bought a house. They worked. My grandparents.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mills.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm out of town.
See how you're clapping through us off?
So
It was.
the next question. Next question. So based on the current mayoral charter, how would you operate and develop the city with a very limited power as the mayor? Would you support changing the charter? And if so, then how? This is for Mr. Olson.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that question. That's a very important one. And the first thing I want to do is restore the power back to the people. As mayor, one thing I'd like to do is create an advisory council. Now, my advisory council consists of business leaders, faith leaders, community members, HOA, and they will be the ones that can go ahead and relay the message to me. In a weak mayor system, there isn't a lot of power. This is why we see the council kind of run off with the initiatives that they do. And you can veto it, but they can return it. So I think a business advisory council or advisory council to the mayor would be very effective because now we're elevating your voice. It's about you. It's not about me. It's not about the weak mayor system. It's about representing you. I would also like to do a mobile mayor system where I could have open house in every district because I would like to speak to the residents in every district. I want to be a hands-on mayor that's involved in every community. And then that way I take initiatives that what you want and I return it to the council to make sure that we vote properly. That is one way I see to be very effective to where I can get council to actually vote and pass something that would unilaterally represent you.
Thank you so very much. Let me make this a statement, and please, I don't want to offend anyone. The statement was said that we should have stopped the clapping when former Mayor Edwards was speaking. We didn't get feedback until after he spoke that we needed to stop the clapping. So we're not giving any individual praise to anyone. Please understand that. We got the feedback from the podcast asking that we stop the applause. Thank you. Next question will go forward to Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, can you agree to a feasibility study to explore becoming a golf cart community to spur small business development?
I think that we owe it to the city, to the citizens of the city of South Fulton to do a feasibility study on it. We've seen this, happen in, more, I would say, closer areas that are similarly affluent, just like we are. And we're sure that, we have just as a strong of an infrastructure as, a Fayetteville, a Peachtree City. I don't think that, we have any different of a land. I think we have better land. I think we have better resources. I think our infrastructure is prime, for a lot of amenities to be provided to the residents of the city of South Fulton. As many candidates have said, we really, we work, and we live here, but we don't play. We play in Buckhead, we play in Johns Creek, Alpharetta, and that's just completely unsatisfactory in terms of what we should have in this city. I can't say that it would be a top priority, but I can agree that a feasibility study should be provided, to appease the residents, to ensure that all stones are being turned, to ensure that we have a quality living, to ensure that, we're not, being, I would say, deprived of things that we can easily have. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that response. So we have another question from our online audience. And it is, what specific policies will be enacted to ensure compliance with purchasing and travel approvals, given that we have the P card abuse and the conflicts in the past? Mark Baker.
When we first started, or actually learned about the P card experience, many of us, except for William Edwards, we were not elected prior to the founding of the city, right? And I was one of those individuals. We had our clerk, Mark Massey, at that time, who came from Fulton County, and he handled all of our P cards. It was really that simple. We went to Mark Massey, we told him what was going on. He's the clerk, he was the records keeper. And we told him what it is that we needed to do, and he actually booked it for us, and simply pressed the button using our P card. I'm proud and glad to say that I left South Fulton voluntarily. I wasn't kicked out of office. I wasn't voted out of office. I ran for higher office. And when we had situations after the 2019 removal situation of the mayor, and back then it was everybody that was on that side of the vote had an ethics charge except for me. I wasn't on an ethics charge when it came to that. I think that it's real simple. We have protocols in place already, and it's easy to say what we're going to do or what we haven't done because many of us up here don't know the actual protocols that are in place, but they're already in place, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to make sure the wheel stays on course.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Baker. This next question will go to Mr. Joseph A. And this question is mainly concerning that of senior citizens. As mayor, what are your goals? What are some of the goals that you have to your citizens in the city of South Fulton? What are the goals that you have for the senior citizens in the city of South Fulton, as well as how is it possible to help with ending property taxes for seniors?
Thank you very much for those two questions. Charity, they say, begins at home. And who's the best or who are the leaders of every home? The senior citizens. So my first thing when I get to office is to work with our seniors in this city, understand their pain points. My conversation with them, I'm out knocking on doors, they've invited them into their living rooms. Last Saturday, someone cooked for me. So I've already established that relationship with them and been gathering their pain points to see how we can come together. I spoke to Miss Mary, who wants Senior Olympics. There are different people with different needs. So we need to work together to figure out how we can involve them in our decision making. Again, the wisdom is there. So we just need to tap into it. The other part of your question, if you can please repeat it.
How is it possible to help with ending property taxes for seniors?
Very good question again. Okay, think about the battery set. Battery set.
Stand up again.
Yeah. All right. You were just talking about property taxes for seniors. Of course, it's something I'm willing to listen to and discuss both pros and cons. I can't sit here right now and tell you, hey, we're gonna wipe it all out. But it's worth discussing. There are cities that are doing this and we can follow suit.
Thank you so very much.
So this next question is for Bill Edwards. The current citywide budget is $295 million. The proposed 2026 budget is $431 million. What would you plan to do with that if you elected as the next mayor? And that is a difference. It's 136 million in growth.
We have to understand that the reason why it is because they did pretty good stewards of that thing. My grandmother once told me one time, a fool letting money real far. If we do not use that which is given to us in a steadfast way and be good students of what we have, a fool and his money will still fall. I think we need to look at to ensure that we continue to have that kind of resources. Let's look at some of the things that we're doing. How can we cut back some of those things? It sounds like a lot of money to you all, but when it comes to government, it ain't so much. But you got to make sure you protect what you got when you're having this kind of resources that's coming in. We do a lot of things that we don't have to do. We do a lot of things that we should do together. You know, I get tired of the 16 turkey giveaway.
Right.
I do. We can do one turkey giveaway for everybody and be really done with it. So we have to be good stewards for God's money. That money we have now can be used for programs. You're talking about knocking $97 million off with one spell vote next week. That's $97 million. No. So we gotta do this, we got to make sure that we ensure that we're doing the right thing to keep it going.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Edwards. This next question will go to Mr. Olson. And Mr. Edwards kind of touched bases on this with the fact that there are 16 different giveaways. How do we make the city of South Fulton one city?
We're active in every district, and we represent every district. We stop the infighting within the council. It seems to be that it's became a me versus you when it comes to the different districts. When it comes to the turkey giveaways or certain giveaways in the other districts, I think that's something we can streamline to nonprofits. We can streamline to different organizations that want to come in and help South Fulton. And we can go ahead and provide to all of South Fulton with the organizations or community outreach that will help us go ahead and provide for each district. Like I said, one thing I want to do when I'm mayor is go and speak to everyone in every district and see what those individual needs are. We may not need a turkey giveaway to every citizen in every district, but I would like to go ahead and unify and bring all the districts together so that South Fulton is represented as a city in a whole.
Thank you so very much. Our next question will be coming from our online audience. And this question will go to Ms. Johnson, Jewel Johnson. When facing budget shortfalls, will leadership commit to making the deliberation process transparent and public? How will department heads be held accountable for staying within allocated budgets?
Again, I feel I need to stand. That's a good question. Thank you for that question. But one of the most important things that you have to do, having worked with people for 44 long years, I know how to work with people. I know how to get them to understand what it is that we are supposed to be doing. You lead by example. And that's the first thing that I plan to do. I know each one of the council people that's there now. Do we have a love affair? No. But you know what we have? Respect. They respect me and I give them respect. Because it's the way you employ what it is that you need to do. And I have a long history of doing that. As a nurse, you are a people person. And for 44 long years, that's what I did as a career. I had to make sure that I was able to work with my coworkers, with the leaders. I became a leader myself because every day wasn't a day that I had to lead, but most of the time I was leading. So what I will do is to come in and organize and do the things that we need to do. So don't think because I'm female and we got all these males.
Thank you.
Sit up here.
Thank you so much.
So I'm gonna go back to the budget. I'm gonna go back to the budget because the proposal on the table is a 46% increase from 2025 to 2026. And so, Mr. Davis, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Mr. Edwards. The 2025 budget was $29 million. The 2026 proposed budget is $431 million. How would you handle the difference in that budget? And that is, the change is $136 million, it's 46%.
The way I would handle the difference in that budget is I would attack, well, I'm not going to say attack because, you know, the budget is supposed to be, you know, it's supposed to bring value to the citizens of South Fulton. But, you know, I would evaluate and assess the budget entirely. I've already done so. The way that I would approach the budget is truly at the capital cost, you know, at the police and the fire, new police station and the fire station, the headquarters. I've done a lot of research Just as the start of the forum began, I just want to be clear that the data for the city of South Fulton and the crime rate is favorable. Crime has went down essentially across every category within the city of South Fulton. So to substantiate or validate an expense as large as this police and fire station, I personally would not support, especially with us already reducing the crime rate. There's no studies that show that a police headquarters actually reduces response time, emergency response time. There's no data that supports that it does that for fire stations. I think that we need to continue to build our police headquarters and fire stations distributed throughout the city of South Fulton. I think each district should have multiple police precincts and multiple fire stations. I think that's how we should use our budget, and that's how we should align our capital expense. I do not approve of the police fire station headquarters.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So now I'm going to go into, Mr. Baker, I'm going to ask you a little bit about technology. This is from one of our online guests. How will technology be used to reduce the cost in city services, i.e. police, fire, parks, and rec?
Y'all got all them great questions and I asked you the technology question. I think that one of the biggest things I could say technology can be used, it can be used for several things. I have a mom, she lives in South Fulton, District 7. Shout out, Mom. She's a retired police officer as well. She worked for Mayoral, but she can't use her phone. She can't use any app. She doesn't know how to do how many seniors in here know about C-Click Fix? Okay. She can't. All right, C-Click Fix is an app that we started a long time ago in South Fulton, where you see something, take a picture of it, click it, and then within 24 or 48 hours, somebody will reach out, come back, and fix it. Most seniors don't know how to utilize that. Our legislative aide for District 7 used to go out and actually put it on people's phones, and we would actually use it that way. Several different ways of technology can be used, from drones, which is part of the reason why I ended no-knock warrants in this city. Again, the only city in the whole state of Georgia that we don't have no-knock warrants. We can use drones to sit on homes, apartments, and things of that nature to make sure that the people that we're looking for are actually inside. They can wait them out. We don't have to have a unit. We don't have to knock it down. We don't have to go in guns blazing, but we can use our technology by drones and actually getting criminals where they need to be. There's so many different ways. I wish I could tell you more in 10 seconds, but please visit markbakerformayor.com because I have an answer for almost all of these questions that didn't come my way, and you can probably find it there. Thanks.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Baker. This next question will be for Mr. Mills. And let me just reiterate, ladies and gentlemen, each candidate will be asked the same amount of questions. So if you feel like they are not getting their due, trust me, we are taking account of every question that we're asking. I'm sorry we're not asking you hard enough questions, Mr. Baker, but I'll try next time. This question is for Mr. Mills. Mr. Mills, if not elected mayor, will you still lend your expertise, your education, your abilities to the building of this city?
Well, the tongue is powerful, so I'm not gonna repeat that question, but what I will say is I would. I've lended my expertise all my life here. So I have no problem with that. I've worked with the previous administrations anytime they've reached out, whether it was tour giveaways, community events. So yes, I would lend my expertise out to the city because again, it's not about me. It's about raising the standard of this city. I live in this city. I want to be able to live somewhere where we're represented right. We're not laughed at, we're not talked about. I want to be somewhere where we are looked at in a good regard. So I would lend out any expertise I have to the city.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Received a question here from one of our visiting guests. What more can be done to stop the big trucks from coming down Cascade Road? The trucks will crack the bridge again. Taxpayers will have to pay for the repairs again. And Mr. Olson, it will.
This is something that we would need to enforce through our policing. I have this frustration as well. I've constantly stuck behind semi trucks in our city. That is due to a lot of the warehouses in our city.
Yeah.
I think if we can enforce the policing on the trucks and make sure that they know not to come through, that is one way that we can stop it. Other ways I've seen is where you can install a roundabout and then it's a road that the truck can't handle. Other times you'll see them just drive through. But I also think we can reach out to the companies that employ those truck drivers. If we had to, issue a fine through that, but there's not. I agree. I share the frustration when it comes to the semi trucks and the traffic, and the best way to do it, I believe, would just be enforce the law.
Thank you.
So we have quite a few economic development questions, and we have some questions from our online audience about education. This is not Board of Education team. Those education questions about better schools and resources are for Board of Education members. They govern and make policy to bring better education or those types of things to the city of South Fulton. So I'm going to hold back the education questions, but want to make sure that we target the greater interest of our audience. And we have a question here about strategies and what would you use to help council members with differing priorities work together? And Joseph A., that question is for you.
Thank you very much for that question. So we have 7 districts in this city. What District 1 wants, their priorities are different from District 2. So there's not a cookie cutter way of bringing random developments to the city. We have to work together. Aren't we tired? Like we're still talking about this, it's like what, 8 years? We have to come together. That is why people elected council members to the council to represent them. Again, what I have planned for District 7 and not necessarily be what District 7 wants, but their council member can stand up and say, hey, I'm speaking for my people. We want density. And then any development related to density, we can prioritize that district and say, hey, let's pick a location here because that's what they want. Right now, it's many more development. We just look at the empty land and say, hey, let's put a structure over there. Not what the people actually want. So going back to what I said about hide your hand is the devil's workshop. Keeping people busy is my job. It's my day-to-day job, the project manager. Getting everybody to come to the table and focus on priorities. That's the first thing I want to do. District 1 representative, what's your priority? The priority of your district. That's the only way to move forward right now, is to focus on priorities from different districts, not a cookie cutter development, not minimal development. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that response. We'll move on to the next question. The next question, for facing budget shortfalls, will leadership commit to making the deliberation process transparent and public? And then how will department heads be held accountable for staying within allocated budget guidelines? And Bill Edwards, that question is for you. Want me to repeat that or you got it?
I think I got it.
You got it?
Let me just make you understand something. By the chart, the responsibility of a council person is to make policy. That is it. What has happened is that they have jumped over from making policy to getting involved with operation. And you can't do that. We'll bring that back in. Under a reform form of government, the person who runs this government is the county manager.
Yes.
City manager, I'm sorry, I've been in county too. City manager.
Yeah, correct.
The mayor is the voice. He is the face of the city. He signs off, he does the agenda. His power is that he can veto. And he plans the agenda. We have to bring everybody back in, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We gotta bring them all back in. There's never been, it was not the intent of the state to have 7 cities.
Amen.
The intention was to have one city working together harmoniously to get something done.
Right.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Evans. This next question will come to Mr. Baker. I'm trying to find a whirlwind for you here, sir. This question says, I live in a community that was established in 2008, and the developers erected buildings that were not properly built. The installation of our underground pipes, drains were not installed correctly. The materials used were substandard. Since 2008, we have had 2 more contractors build under the same substandard quality. We cannot have the City of South Fulton help us correct it, we cannot have the City of South Fulton help us correct it. The wrong is the issue of the builder and the private, the wrong is because we, private citizens, are stuck with what was commissioned by our former mayor. So, sorry, that was a statement. The question is, how do you plan to ensure developers are building good quality structures, pass inspections without turning a blind eye to poor construction and correct the wrongs from the previous construction that we have been left with?
Come back to question. I'm gonna do my best real quick. So again, I kind of mentioned earlier that we've been in the city since 2017. Before that, I think this would be a better question for our mayor at the time, who was our commissioner at the time when that stuff happened back in 2018. Again, we had a lot of undesirable things that took place where we currently live, and that was the county's responsibility. But now we're the city, we have to figure out how to reel it back in. And it's not just in, what is that, 4? Did you say what district it was? It didn't say the district, but I know in my subdivision in District 7, we have horribly built buildings right now that we just kicking rocks and we can't do anything to move it forward right now, right? But I think the reality of it is a lot of us up here, when we're not in function and don't understand, like as a council member, I can meet with the person who's in charge, which is a city manager, right? Because I can't just go directly to the head of planning because I would be out of bounds. And most of our situations in South Fulton right now is because we've been out of bounds. So if we actually understand and inwardly digest the process of a strong city manager form of government, we would know that the city manager hires the department heads and they all report to the city manager, who reports to the 7 council members and the mayor. And I don't want any of us to come up here and mislead you guys and tell y'all what we're not going to allow to happen, what we're not. Again, I can't say a word to these people like that. I can't tell a developer what they can't build. We'd be sued.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much for that response. The next question. As a resident of the city of South Fulton, we are spiraling downward compared to where we were at the inception. What are the plans for families of South Fulton? Because families seem to be forgotten. And that question is for Mr. Davis.
As I, initially hit on, I'll say previous questions. This campaign is about doing the work, and it's about doing the work for the residents as a resident, because right now I'm a resident of the city of South Fulton. I'm not the mayor. I'm not a council member. I have no power. But so everything that I plan to do even if I'm not mayor, because that's my commitment to the city of South Fulton. So with that, Fulton Pathways, that is a family organization that provides youth training, but it feeds into another sister organization called Fulton Connected, which we provide, free services for seniors we monitor ages once they turn 65. We have specialists that reach out to the seniors and ensure that, they have all of the resources they need to transition to seniorhood. And we also are going to promote a new program that's going to be iPads for seniors, in which our volunteers are going to go into the senior homes on the weekends and provide them with iPhones and set them up and allow them to be able to FaceTime their loved ones. And each weekend, we're going to have volunteers that's going to go to the senior homes and train seniors. It's just using simple things like Facebook and FaceTime. I want to, ensure that we become technology literate across all age demographics.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Davis. Now, this next question will be for Mr. Mills. And I'm going to put them together because it's kind of the same question, but it says, most council members are now listening to the developers rather than to the people. What can you do as mayor to make sure that the citizens are a priority with the council instead of the developers? And just to add to it, it says, how can you implement, or what can you implement as mayor to make sure that the citizens' concerns and their desires are being met?
Well, the start is unity. We keep electing individuals with their own agendas. We have to stop that. Period. We have to hold them accountable through audits. I believe we should have quarterly audits. And that'll make them think more than once about the decisions that they're going to make when they approve these data centers and these warehouses in their districts. Where I come from is called selling your people out. That's what it's called. I don't put no chases, straight down. That's what it's called. We have to start holding them accountable. It's okay, Miss Jewel. What? Every time I talk, you talk. I love you though. but nonetheless, with a quarterly audit, that's every 3 months, to show the constituent that elected them what they're doing, they'll think twice before they sit there and help these developers basically sell their people out for peanuts and horse tickets. Again, this would never happen in North Fulton. Y'all can't name 2 data centers in North Fulton.
That's true.
Especially within a half mile of your home. We keep electing these people. We keep recycling. Listen, they say recycling is good, but not with government.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
This message is for, this question is for Bill Evans. What procedures and policies will be put in place for orderly meetings? And how can the 7 district members coordinate meetings? And the last part is increasing time for citizens to speak at council meetings. How would you manage that?
The government of the city chose to have Robert's Rules of Order as the way in which they want to conduct their meetings. It's up to the person who has the gap to ensure that those meetings run smooth. Give you a classic example. Today, when anybody wants to speak longer than they require, their response to the mayor is point of order. When it should have been, response from the mayor should have been, what is your point? If your point is not germane, then we go to something else. I am 100%. When I came from Fulton County, we didn't put limits on speakers. You can't. They can come up to the microphone and call Bill the biggest dog in the world. And it's all right. But they need to have the opportunity, they're taxpayers, and they need to be heard. So instantly, I would change that process totally. And I think that would help. And then if you know the Robert Rules of Order, if you know how to run a meeting, it takes a lot of the mess out of it. And I can run that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Edwards. This next question will be for Ms. Jewel Johnson. Why should we allow prior council and mayor to return when they have failed this city.
Can I take this one?
No. I'm gonna stand on the other. Not because of my poor way. First of all, I just want to say thank you for that question. And I do believe it was, why should we allow? Am I right?
Yes, why should we allow prior council and prior mayor to return when they have failed this city?
Well, I truly, as a advocate of this good city, for as long as I have been, I truly don't believe that we should allow them. Because there are plenty of people sitting in this audience now. What did I say to you? Vet me. Vet me. Then you compare what I've done with all the candidates here. You make that decision. It is totally up to you. Now, I know there are people that really like a lot of the council people. That's some I like. But if they're not doing the job, why are you gonna bring them back? And I say the same thing about me. You hire me for 4 years and I don't do nothing but raise sand. Don't vote for me again.
All right.
Please don't. I have no problems telling you to vet me. Please, if you don't do anything else, this is one of the most critical local things that you need to do. And that is vet your candidate and compare them. Then make the decision. Don't listen to nobody.
Thank you so much.
Okay?
Thank you so very much. And this question will go to Mr. Joseph A. It was for someone else, but I think it's appropriate to ask this question of you. It says that people tend to cater specifically to seniors and super voters. Do you have a plan for our troubled youth?
Thank you for the question. I'm already working with young people to get them trained, get them equipped for the future. We cannot arrest our way out of crime. We have to engage the young people and also adults and young people returning from prison. They have served their time. It's time to integrate them back into society. If we don't take care of those two groups, you're gonna worry about leaving your car in front of your house. But with the relationship that I built with, for example, Google, Microsoft, I've executed projects for these organizations. I continue to work with them to bring those training programs into the city. I have a 1-month boot camp that when you're done with the boot camp, no degree needed, you can earn $70,000 to $80,000 the very next week.
Wow.
These are programs that I've done. So if I'm earning $80,000, I'm not coming to your car to break in and steal your phone because I'm good, right?
Right.
So we have to carry everyone along, no one left behind. If we don't take care of those young people and those people returning from prison, we will continue to be discussing these safety issues. Again, we cannot arrest our way out of crime. Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
So ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from each of the candidates that have offered up your services, that put their names on the ballot, who want to serve as your next leader. Now we will move into the closing statements and allow each of the candidates 2 minutes for their closing statements. And we're going to go in alphabetical order by last name. So Joseph A., you will begin with 2 minutes.
I'd like to thank the people of South Fulton for your warm reception and kindness that you continue to show me whenever I knock on your doors. There's a Chinese proverb that roughly translates to, you cannot awaken someone who is pretending to be asleep. Our leaders heard you. They know you don't want to go to another city to shop for groceries. They heard you. They know you want to feel safe in your own homes. They heard you. They know you want economic development. But what has been a challenge, you may ask? is the transition from press conferences to execution. Because I know you can't shop at press conferences. My experience of executing multi-million-dollar projects and initiatives has prepared me for this. I will work with the city manager and take the city from where we are now to where we need to be. Brethren, we cannot go back. And we can't keep doing the same things the same way by the same people and expect a different result. Wow. I know you want change because you love this city. That change that you seek, the common sense governance that you've been looking for is now on the ballot. Number one on the ballot, Joseph Adeyemi.
All right now.
Thank you. Next, we'll move into Mr. Baker. If you will, your 2-minute closing statement.
Okay. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you so much for having me. And I really appreciate and value the opportunity to be before you again. But many of you guys never even known me because I was on District 7 City Council. However, I want to let you guys know some of the bright sparks of South Fulton that you may not know, which are legislative accomplishments of myself when I was on City Council. I am the first in the state of Georgia to abolish Columbus Day for Indigenous People Day. I decriminalized cannabis. I made $15 a minimum wage. I banned the box on applications for jobs for convicted felons. I activated the Development Authority, and I served as chair 2 terms. I also activated the Urban Redevelopment Authority for our city and brought $15 million for infrastructure. I wrote a resolution regarding long-term effects of 5G towers, which is kind of like symbolic of what's going on right now with the data centers. I made Juneteenth a holiday way before the federal law. I'm the first and only in the state to end no-knock warrants, Breonna Taylor's law. I made an investor harassment ordinance for everybody that's being harassed right now because your property is worth a whole lot of value and people in California and Starbucks know about it. I passed #8can'twait during the 2020 riots, which require de-escalation, warnings before shooting, exhaust all alternatives before shooting, and the duty to intervene by police officers, and much, much more. I passed the Central Park 5 legislation, which is about the exonerated 5 in New York, protecting our juveniles. I also passed the Crown Act, so you can wear your natural hair without any discrimination in the city of South Fulton. A resolution condemning domestic terrorism, resolution regarding George Floyd Policing Act of 2021, resolution regarding critical race theory in the first reparations legislation in the state of Georgia. I'm the only 2-term mayor pro tem in this city, which means everybody who voted for Bill Edwards, the council members voted for me twice to lead them if something were to happen to him. And I'm the only person that happened. They actually changed the law after that. So vote for Mark Baker. Visit markbakerformayor.com. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We'll move now to Kelvin Davis, excuse me.
So I want to start by saying that I spent most of this debate talking about, what I'm going to do for you guys. And I never really, spoke about myself truly. I feel as though the opening statement, I spoke on it briefly, but I really didn't get into it. But I want to say that, who I truly am is, a resident of the South Fulton, a resident of South Fulton who truly believes in the potential that we have here. I'm a veteran. I'm a Navy veteran. I was active duty. I've done 3 deployments. I've been to Afghanistan. I've been to Kuwait. I've toured 14 other countries. I've worked for NSA. I've worked for the Pentagon. I've worked for so many different letter agencies, and I've managed and executed multi-billion-dollar projects over the last 18 years. I have project management experience, engineering experience, architecting experience. I build systems for the globe. I build systems for the world. I work for the Air Force. I work out of Warner Robins. It's a hybrid experience. I manage 9 countries and it's 47 sites. I want to bring that expertise to the city hall. I want to bring better public services. I want to make sure that the public services actually works. I want to make sure that it works for you guys. I want to make sure that everything that we spend actually results in equity for the community. I want you guys to truly see a government that works for you. I will never embarrass you. My name is clean. I have a phenomenal 38 years on this earth. And I can assure you, if you reach out to anyone that know me, family, friends, associates, co-workers, you'll hear nothing but good things. You have a good leader in front of you, and I respect every candidate here, but you have the best man for the job.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Davis. Now we will move on to Mr. William Bill Edwards.
Thank you so much. I've been sitting here paying attention. And people can use cliche words. Well, let me tell you something. This job ain't that easy. It ain't that easy. You will find out what the limitations of your authority really is. If you don't have the ability to collaborate, to communicate, to go beyond the city and go to other governments where you can partner to help things get done. I have that ability. I brought $9 million back into the coffers of this city because I bought Fulton Industrial back in. And the reason I bought Fulton Industrial back in because I had a relationship with the governor. That's the truth. Right back on the books, $9 million. So we can always talk about what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and all this kind of thing. Sounds real good at it. But in practicality, you're going to be doing all that under restrictions. How do you get out of the restrictions? Learn to communicate, get along with it back. This city is a creature of the state. The state can dissolve during the morning. So why do we get mad? Why are we not talking to the state in a positive way? Fulton County. Why are we talking to Fulton County in a positive way? And let me say this. Because my name was mentioned, y'all didn't give me a chance to mention my name directly to expound on it. So if I built any houses within bad pipes, just bring me the list. Let me look at it, because I don't remember that like that. But you can talk about the person who had a job before. But anyway, you got to be ready. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Edwards. Now we will move forward to closing remarks from Ms. Jewel Jones.
Thank you so much for being here. I want to let everybody know that there was a question, why you running? Let me tell you, folks, I'm running again, saying this to you. I'm vested here. I love here. When you love something, you nurture it. And I will employ each and every one of you to please go and look at the things that I have accomplished as an advocate. I've been all over the region notifying people about the crisis we're in with our health care, only to have elected officials that try to shut me down. Wouldn't talk to me. But guess what? I'm still doing it. And I'm asking each and every one of you that care about healthcare, join me. Because whether you vote for me as the mayor or not, I'm going nowhere. I'm going to stay here. I have been doing it for years. That's the reason I know that I am the one to lead for this city. Because you can sit up and say all these wonderful things about what you're going to do, but where you been?
That's it.
Okay, and they got all this good sermon about what they going to do. I've been doing it for years. You can go put your hands on what I've done. Anybody that's ever been to the Art Center on New Hope Road, we put it there. Yes, we did. The elected officials now are about themselves. They are not about us because we have so many health and social needs on this side, civic and social needs. And we should. This is the richest county in Georgia.
Thank you.
Why are we wasting like this?
Thank you so much. So now we're going to move on to Ray Mills. Mr. Mills, if you will, give us your 2-minute closing statement.
Well, as you all probably can notice, I'm not a politician. And it's not a time for politics. It's really a time for action. This city is in dire need. It's in dire need for leadership. It's in dire need for direction. It's in dire need for identity. We have none of the above. For 8 years, we've kind of just floated through with no real direction. True. I know you all probably say you talking about his business and things like that. That's my background. Some of you may be entrepreneurs and you understand how hard it is to wake up and make something happen out of thin air. As Mr. Edwards said, you know, being a mayor is no easy job. Being an entrepreneur is no easy job either. You have to learn to work with people. You have to know how to reach across the aisle with individuals you do not agree with. I'm training. My portfolio speaks about that. I'm just a boy that their grandparents adopted at 4 years old in this city. Point blank period. This was not their vision or their dream. And I know this is not you all's vision or dream. We have a chance to get it right this time. We spent 2 election cycles, unfortunately, getting it wrong. It's time for a fresh start. It's time for a fresh face, fresh ideas, moving forward, not looking back. That's all I got to say. Again, I'm not a politician. I'm a citizen that's invested right here in the same city each and every one of you live in. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. And our final closing statement will come from Ryan Olson.
I want to thank you all for coming tonight. When I think why I'm running, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at everyone's face because I think we are only as strong as our community. And I think we agree that our community is not being represented. I see a lot of passionate people. I see a lot of engaged residents. And I think we can do better. I think South Fulton is a city that can be on the rise, but we all need to rise with it. I like to say that when the cat's away, the mouse is at play. I mean, we've been lacking the leadership that we need. I'd like to bring that leadership to this city. I'd also like to dedicate my full time to that job. I understand when Mr. Edwards over here says it's a tough job and you got to dedicate a lot of time to it. And I think you should, because I want to be hands-on. I want to be involved and I want to represent our community. And most importantly, I want to make sure that you feel represented. So I would ask you, when you go to that voting booth, scroll all the way down, find that name Olson, that wonky kid, that wonky stuntman in his jacket, and let's make our community better. We can do this.
Thank you so very much. Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, you have just heard from 7 candidates seeking to serve the citizens of the city of South Fulton. If elected, the mayor will serve a 4-year term that begins January 2026, ending in December 2029. All of the qualified candidates will be on your ballot in November. Today, their future lies in your hands. If elected, future of the city of South Fulton lies in their hands. The mayor-elect of the city of South Fulton will have influence and a vote on proposed legislation that will impact your livelihood for years to come. As a constituent and a voter of the city of South Fulton, it is our hope that you will use your vote as your voice and feel confident after this evening and elect your next mayor that will deliver smart, fair, and equal representation throughout the city.
And so let's be mindful, election day is November 4th, and if there's a runoff, it would be December 2nd. You've heard again, as Joe has said, from 7 of the 9 qualified candidates that are running for the next mayor for the city of South Fulton. And as a resident, you owe it to yourself and your neighbors to help elect officials that want to work to help us. Accountability is the word of the year. Let's be accountable and hold our elected officials accountable as they strive and develop to govern Georgia's largest county in Fulton County. They will be a part of this large county. But in closing, I'll leave you with this. Be an educated and informed voter. Know who to vote for. Know who is on your ballot. Know what is on your ballot. Know when to vote and know where to vote. Thank you. Exercise your right to vote. Now I'm going to turn the forum back over to our host for this evening, Mr. Damita Chatman.
Let me say this. I want to thank you guys, thank all the residents that came out today. I just want to thank you guys. Serving is not easy, but you got to have a serving heart. Before I turn it over to the pastor of the house, I want to thank all of my guests. These are my guests. Thank you guys for coming. They're my guests. I want to thank, and I've always said this, I want to thank the man of this house, Pastor Chris. And I want to thank the man of my house for being my backbone, and he's gonna be there when ain't nobody gonna be there. I want to thank you guys. But before I close, I forgot to do this, and I got to do it. This time last year, I had a dear friend that would come to every forum and sit right here. We did not agree on everything, but we fought for the same thing. And in November, when he was at my house, Rosie Jackson, he stood in my kitchen. And it's funny for you to show up here tonight because he called your name. And he said, Damita, I don't care about none of them folks liking you down in the city of South Fulton. I want you to stand up for what's right. You do what's right. And long as you can go to bed and sleep well at night, that's all that matters. And when you put something out, I want you to sign your name on it. Give them your number and approve the message. And if anybody know who that was, it was Mr. Reggie Tatum. And I promised him in my kitchen the day before Thanksgiving, the last time that he was at my house. I said, Reggie, I don't want to do this. Because who's gonna help me? Who's gonna fight with me? He said, I don't want you to worry about that, Damita, because God is gonna send you a village. And I believe that. I believe that. So I don't want the city of South Fulton to give up. Don't give up. We gonna fight because we didn't fight this hard to get here. We just got to get it right. And my sister told me don't need to use these words, but them is my words and I got to use them. We got to stop getting in the bed with elected officials. I'm not talking about getting in the bed to be with them. I'm talking about getting in the bed to get along, That's what I'm saying. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank my guests. We're going to take pictures with you guys before you leave. All of you guys, we're going to take this one picture. We're going to be a family tonight. I want you guys to do what I asked you to do, please, for this house. Again, I want to thank you. The next forum will be Thursday, and that's District 2. And I know they were running fast, but we had to wait till qualification. And so I want to thank the citizens for being just so grateful. I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Chris now. After we turn it over to Pastor Chris, he's going to close out in prayer. We're going to take our pictures and we're going home. Again, thank you for coming.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you all for being in this house. This is a house of prayer. We don't just pray as a perfunctory measure at the close of an event, but we want you to know that we pray daily. We pray daily for you all that are running for office. Pray daily for those that are already elected to office. And then we pray for us as the citizenry, that we would be the people that would be, as our moderators have asked us, to be informed about what it is that we're involved with and then how we go about doing that. You know, this really is the start of an election season. And in as much, there's going to be a lot of discussion. There's going to be a lot of people's names on people's lips. And there's going to be a lot of dialogue about who knows what best to do for what. The story is told about a husband and a wife. The wife decides that she's going to shut her husband's mouth. So she asked him, what did he want? He said, I want 2 eggs for breakfast. Can you do that? She said, yes. She said, I'm going to fry 1 egg and then I'm going to do the other egg over easy. And she did that and she brought the eggs to him. And he said, well, she said, what's wrong? Why are you frowning? Why are you having all this difficulty? He said, you fried the wrong egg. Some of y'all get that later. I want you to understand something. You're never going to please everybody. There was a guy on an island who went there to get away from everybody, and he was being put on the island there. He sat there and he was upset. And those pastors can understand this. When they discovered the man on the island, he had went forth and they found 3 churches, but it was just one man. Said, why do you have 3 churches? It's just one of you. He said, me, myself, and I. And so, brothers and sisters, I pray that we can have a unity of the spirit during this time, and that we will seek God. The scripture tells us that if any person lacks wisdom, let them ask of God. And if what we need at this time, more so than any strategic plan, more so than any increase in finances, what we really need is godly wisdom. And godly wisdom does not come from a corporate structure. Godly wisdom does not even, I'm not going to preach. Godly wisdom does not come from any type of political structure. But we need a coming back to God type. Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for this time together. And Father, your word declares that knowledge is good and wisdom is the principal thing. But in all our getting, we need to get understanding. And so, dear God, tonight we just pray. We pray, dear God, that we would go down from this place with greater understanding, knowing that it's not the ending of the understanding that we need. But Father, we would go forward seeking that understanding of truth from your word. I pray your blessings upon every family that is represented here. I lift up to you those who have set forth themselves to run for this office of mayor of the city of South Fulton. I pray to God that even as your word declares, there's no person set to any office except you allow it. So, Father, we come tonight seeking your will about who it is that you would have to lead this city, even the other positions. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. See, thank you.